Come on, I want a live stream here, please. Jesus, man. Ay, 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 ay. My apologies, everybody. I'm sorry. My apologies, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm getting hammered with text messages. It's a very personal issue going on off camera. Let me close my door because now here's the fucking landscapers. I can't have a moment's peace. Even when my intentions are sincere, I can't have peace with anything because of other people's nonsense and bullshit. Forgive me for my cynicism here, folks. Yeah, my apologies, Huff family. I'm sorry for the interruption and having to cut the live stream. It's just, I'm dealing with a couple personal issues off camera, and I'm getting hammered with messages again. And then I've got to compete with the noise outside. Huff family says, keep chasing your dreams. Let me tell you, if you got to know me personally, all I've done for like the past freaking 15 to 20 years is fight for myself with a lot of stuff. If you've been watching the channel, I don't have to tell you. And I really don't want to get into that because I really want to focus on the hobby. It's just, a lot of things that I talk about here on the channel, when reality wants to suck you in, unfortunately, this is what happens. But unfortunately, with the cruelty of people that are out there, especially with one particular issue I'm dealing with right now, like this person is just unreasonable and unfair. Like with a lot of people out there, they just want things their way. It sucks. It's really awful. It's awful. It's so fucking awful. But again, to catch everybody up, if you're joining this live stream, forgive me for shutting down the first one. I was getting hammered with messages, and I had to respond. It's now 20 after 2 o'clock. We're going to talk about this because I want to give a heads up to my eBay customers exactly what it is I plan on listing over at my eBay store for the World Series. I have, I believe, 12 auctions going on simultaneously right now because I have to clear out a lot of my stock and make room stuff. There's going to be a lot of LA Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays items in there, a lot of Shohei Ohtani, some Vladdy Daddies, I think some Freddie Freeman's, Mookie Betts. But again, forgive me because I'm getting text messages. It's sad. It's sad when you have to deal with people that are just cruel and heartless and sorry, folks. I'm usually more jovial and happy. This year, like I've said in my videos, it has not stopped yet. With people's fucking cruelty towards me, it's like ridiculous, man. Like I'm stressed having to deal with this shit. So again, forgive me for having to shut down that initial live stream. I was getting hammered, but I will. Jackson Johnson, hello, my friend. How are you? Welcome to the live. We're going to talk about this. I've prepared all of these for sale over at my eBay store. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the camera around once I see that there's enough people watching. And then we'll go through what I plan on listing. I'll probably start tonight because especially after these text messages that I got when I tried to do this initial live stream, I'm going to have to divert my attention to that. It's just some people are very, very heartless. Very heartless. And like I always do, I always try to press through it and fight and keep going and press on. But some people, unfortunately, they have no God in their heart. They really don't. So Jackson Johnson is asking, how am I doing? Well, today I'm a little beside myself again. I tried to start this live stream a few minutes ago. I had to shut it down and then restart it again because I'm getting hammered with text messages. I have a personal issue I'm dealing with off camera. Unfortunately, trying to get somebody to see reason, and they just won't do it because they have to have things their way. And they're not willing to budge or negotiate. They're not willing to compromise. And this is the problem with the world that we have, that everybody wants what they want and they don't care how they get it through attrition. It's ridiculous. But I have a business to run and I have to keep going. And I have to tell myself that. And that's what this is. And we'll get into that. So to my eBay customers, thank you so much, everybody, for supporting my most recent auctions. There are currently 12 of them going on simultaneously. Thank you so much, because I have to clear out my backlog. I've had cards sitting there for months, and I've got to move them one way or the other. Again, I'm self-taught. I don't have a degree in any of this. I'm not a specialist in any way. I understand why retailers have clearance sales and all that kind of stuff, because when stuff starts to sit around for too long, you have to get it out the door no matter what. Now, I've been doing this for long enough that, I get why they do that. And that's what I'm doing. I got to start moving some cards, unfortunately. But that big stack that you just saw right there, this is all LA Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays cards. And also a little bit of an announcement, which I was trying to elaborate, trying to get this point out there. And forgive me, I'm a little distracted right now because of these text messages I'm getting. I had an issue with a customer. Yeah, no problem, Huff family. I mean, you can always come back and watch this at a later time. I know it's very early, so I'm sure people got things to do at this time. And it is Friday, so enjoy your Friday. But anyway, for everybody else, the customer I was working with, when it came to that Shohei Ohtani, we finally worked out a little deal. Whatever Shohei Ohtani's I pulled out, which I will be showing off now that I can, I gave him a little time to decide which replacement card he wanted, and he accepted my offer. And I gave him a Bowman paper batting Shohei Ohtani from 2024 as a consolation, but he agreed to accept a 2023 Topps Chrome Anniversary base Shohei Ohtani. So I made sure he got that, packed it up, mailed it out, and then, now I'm doing this live stream. And again, please forgive me if you got alerted to me doing a live stream. I'm getting very, very sad text messages. Again, I don't want to get into my personal issues with this live stream. I want to focus on the business and focus on these sports cards and give my customers the ability to see, behind the scenes before I put them up on eBay, to give you a chance to, take a look and see if you're interested in anything. I'll probably start listing tonight. I'm not going to do it this afternoon. I need a break, especially given the nature of these very personal text messages. I need a timeout. So I'll probably find myself sitting outside for a couple hours. But thank you, everybody who's participating. You can always come back and watch later. I know it's early in the day. Most of you are probably working. Yeah, some people are very heartless. Very heartless. Very cruel and very cold. No matter how much good you do. So I'll let this ride for a couple more minutes, and then I'll flip the camera around, and then we'll take a look at what I got here. And then you ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested, keep it in the back of your mind. And we see how this works. Irie is the girl. Welcome to the live stream. I appreciate you being here. For anybody that's just joining, we'll be talking about this in a little bit. And again, forgive me if you got an alert to my latest live stream. Unfortunately, I had to stop because I was getting very, very personal, very intimate text messages that are very disappointing. Unfortunately, any of you that have been following the channel, you'll know I've been going through a lot this year, and it just doesn't want to seem to let up, unfortunately. You know, that's the thing about YouTube and social media. Everybody creates this atmosphere that everything's fine and perfect, and that's not the case. That's really not the case at all. All these people that you see, and then you have drama tube, you know, like Keemstar and guys like that that thrive off of watching people lose their shit on camera. I think it's ridiculous. Let me see here. Irie is the girl I sub. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you. Yeah, usually, you know, forgive me, you know, if you're just joining for the first time, you know, usually I'm a little bit more jovial and happy. It's just, you know, if you've watched my previous videos, which I'm sure most of you have, this year has just been relentless. You know, with my father passing away, my buddy passing away, my ex-girlfriend doing what she did, and everything else I've had to deal with. It's you know, it really, you know, it's difficult. Like I work for myself, but again, I'm a human being as well, you know, so sometimes the streams get crossed, and my personal life and my business life tend to cross paths. Thank you, Irie is the girl. I appreciate that very much. You know, usually I'm a little bit more chipper, but I'm going to try to stay on course here. So, but again, if you're just joining, we're going to go over this in a few more minutes. I'll show you what I'm going to be offering for sale as a spoiler alert. I will most likely start listing these tonight because now that the weather is getting cold. Alexa, what's today's forecast?
The current weather is 66 degrees Fahrenheit.
Alexa, volume 75%. Alexa, what's today's forecast?
The current weather is 66 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly sunny skies. Today, you can expect lots of sun, with a high of 70 degrees and a low of 44 degrees.
Yeah, so it's going to be cold tonight. So, yeah, I'll go over this stack of cards. This way, you know, when I start listing, you can actually follow me over at eBay, the Carolina Collector 001. Any video in short that I have, the link will be in the description, like always. Excuse me. And if you follow me on eBay, you know, you'll probably get alerted automatically when I start listing new cards or any jerseys or any other items. As a matter of fact, a little bit of a spoiler alert for something else that has nothing to do with sports cards. I found these outside. These are not mine, but I did find these for my sneakerhead viewers out there. I'm probably going to do a rough restoration of these. Somebody threw them out, and I have them outside kind of airing out a little bit, but clearly they need a good wash and clean. But I do have Angelus leather paint and sandpaper and all that stuff, so I just might do a basic restoration and donate these to charity. Because there is a Goodwill here, so I'll probably donate these to somebody once I clean them up. But that'll be a nice little project for me to clean these. I've got emery paper and all sorts of stuff to fix them up. So I'll give this another couple more minutes, and then we'll get started. I'll show you what I'm going to be offering for sale, and there's a lot. For you Shohei Ohtani fans and Vladimir Guerrero fans, there's going to be some, you know, decent stuff in there for all of you. But this should be a nice little restoration project. And I'll definitely donate these to charity. I got wire brushes. I'll clean up the soles a little bit. I'll probably pull the shoelaces, shampoo them as well. And clean these up with soap and water and rubbing alcohol and all that good stuff. Give them a good repaint with some Angelus and donate them to charity. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I appreciate the likes. Don't forget to smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And let me start getting ready to show off these cards that I will be offering for sale over at my eBay store. Let me just get the camera all set up here. And please forgive the background noise. The landscapers are here. So it's going to sound like a swarm of bees outside my door. Let me just split these piles in half. And then I'll sort through all of these, and we'll take it from there. So again, welcome everybody to this live stream. I know it's a little early in the day, but I wanted to go over these cards I will be listing at my eBay store. Wanted to make sure I give you all a spoiler so that this way, if you're interested in any of these cards, they will be listed starting sometime tonight. I definitely want to get outside and get some fresh air in me because, unfortunately, life has this really bad way of just torturing you sometimes. But without further ado, let me get started here. So let's go into pile number 1. Welcome aboard, Afries. How you doing, my friend? And what you're about to see, if you're just joining this live stream, these are going to be some of the cards I'll be offering for sale over at my eBay store for the World Series. I meticulously went through my boxes to dig out a whole bunch of Toronto Blue Jays. We're hearing that good sound already. Let's see what this is here. That's a delivery notification from eBay, so that's good. That means one of my customers got their order. I love the fact that eBay implemented that. So I'm going to go over all these cards. I will start listing these tonight. I'm not going to do it this afternoon because I kind of need a little bit of a break. Again, forgive me if you got an alert that I was going to do a live stream. Unfortunately, I got sidetracked by very personal text messages I'm not going to get into in this live stream because I want to focus on the business. First and foremost, don't forget, check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. Let me see if I can actually put it in the chat. I don't know if I can. Chat filter. That's the one thing I don't like about YouTube live streaming is that I don't think you can do much with this. I really should do this with StreamYard next time, but as I'm looking to see if I can type anything. No message delay. So I can slow the chat down. All right, so there's some stuff I can do. It's just the YouTube thing is weird. But anyway, you can go into any video in short here on YouTube and you'll get the link to my eBay store. So Afries is asking, how am I doing? I'm doing all right, my friend. Again, sometimes life has a way of interfering with oneself, I guess. All right, I don't want to focus on negativity, folks. Let me do what I do best. Let's hit it. All right, so we have, actually, I want to look at the back of the cards, too, and give you, ladies and gentlemen, an opportunity to see the back of the cards as well. So let's start off with this Shohei. This is what all of these cards that you see will be listed over at my eBay store. I just want to give you an idea of the condition and all that stuff, what they look like. I really try my best to vet my cards. Okay, so we're starting off with an 89 Shohei. A lot of these are going to be inserts. Again, I probably won't start listing until tonight sometime. But keep an eye out, because once this live stream is over, I'm going to sit outside for a little bit, get some fresh air in my lungs, collect my thoughts, and then I'll start listing these tonight, probably after I have supper, like around maybe 8, maybe 9 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time. I'll start listing these. Alexander, hello, welcome to the live stream. It's the Shohei Ohtani Paper All-Star. A lot of these are going to be Ohtani inserts and base cards, and probably the last of the Shoheis that I have. except for one or two I have for my PC. And every one of these, I'm going to have to sit down and comp. This might take me a couple days, depending. Hopefully, I don't have any more interruptions or anything like that. But if you see anything you like, keep it in mind. You go over to my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. You can follow me over at eBay. You'll probably get an alert from eBay when I start listing. There's a covering the field insert. Just to give you an idea of what's to come for the World Series. Again, I do have quite a few Shohei Ohtanis I will be listing at my eBay store starting tonight. I'm just hoping the landscapers are gone before I go outside because I really don't want that buzzing in my ear. But I'm very happy I was able to work out that issue with one of my customers. I actually mailed out that envelope prior to me beginning my live stream. So they were happy. I'm happy. That's good that I was able to find an alternative. But again, this is a spoiler alert for any customers of mine, returning customers or potential new customers. This should sell. A lot of my mysticals sell fairly quickly. So everything you see here will be listed, hopefully starting tonight sometime. Here's a base Shohei. Man, I went through Chrome like crazy with his cards, with this very image. As a matter of fact, I don't have any more of his 2024 Chromes. And that's the last paper I have right there. Got an Emmett Sheehan rookie. Again, this is primarily Dodgers and Blue Jays. That's an Emmett Sheehan refractor, by the way. Because it literally says refractor on it. Let's see here. We have a Will Smith Ray Wave. Thank you for the thumbs up and the likes, everybody. It really helps the channel to grow. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Check out my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001, if you're just joining the live. These are the cards I will be listing, most likely starting tonight around 8, 9 o'clock. I will try to comp these as low as possible. These will most likely be buy it nows. Zozu, welcome aboard. There's a Davis Snyder Ray Wave. Again, these are all LA Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays cards. This is a James Outman Ray Wave. The hardest part is just comping the cards. Now, if I do see cards off-centered and things like that, I'm not even going to waste my time with them because, you know, I'm not going to sell my customers junk or cards. I mean, if they're slightly off-center, I'll give it a pass. But if it's like ridiculously cut, I'm not going to bother wasting my time. There's a George Springer refractor. Again, this is primarily LA Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays. There's another James Outman. I think that's his base. Yeah, that's his base card. Thank you to those that are participating in my current auctions. If you're here in the live, thank you. There's a Joey Votto paper aqua. Not quite a color match, but Isaiah kind of Falefa. Aqua paper. Again, you can follow me over at eBay. Carolina Collector 001. There goes all the school kids getting dropped off. There's a Vladdy Daddy X-Fractor. He should have a good World Series against LA. Here's his refractor of that same card. And the other day I showed off that Bowman gold out of 50 auto of his that I have. So there's a Mookie Betts X-Fractor. And everything you see here will be on sale over at my eBay store. There's a Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Let him cook. There's another George Springer X-Fractor. Just to give you all an idea of what's to come. Vladdy Daddy covering the field. Mookie Betts covering the field. Another insert. I'll try to comp these as low as I possibly can. There's an Emmett Sheehan X-Fractor rookie. Again, primarily LA Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays. For those that are just joining, what you're looking at is a collection of Toronto Blue Jays and LA Dodgers cards I will be offering over at my eBay store starting tonight, approximately 8 to 9 o'clock p.m. my time on the East Coast. You can always come back to this live stream and you'll see exactly what it is I'll be offering for sale. There's a lot. Daniel Hudson X-Fractor. There's a Vladdy Daddy Strokes. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. You can follow me over at eBay, the Carolina Collector 001. You should get alerts when I am fiddling or tweaking my eBay store's listings, or if I'm listing new cards, you can follow me over there. There's a Tyler Glasnow. And I say Glasnow in the proper European because the W at the end of the name is usually pronounced as a V. So, sorry, it's just a force of habit, I guess. Mookie Betts 89 Refractor. Vladdy Daddy All Etch. There's a Freddie Freeman Strokes. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this afternoon. This is a spoiler alert live stream as to what I will be listing over at my eBay store starting tonight. And approximately 8 to 9 p.m., somewhere around that time, is when I'll start listing all of these cards as buy it nows. And I will try to comp them as low as humanly possible. And that's a Mojo Refractor of Yamamoto. Just want to give you a heads up as to what's to come. This way you can stay ahead of the curve. I believe this is a base. Yeah, it's a base Spencer Horwitz. Another Vladdy Daddy. That's a base, I believe. Yeah, that's a base. Excuse me. There's a nice color match. This is from Paper Update. Gavin Stone, Royal Blue. I still have a ton of Royal Blues, but, you know, for other players and other teams. But, you know, I want this to be very Blue Jays Dodgers eccentric when I start listing these over at eBay. Dagger Cards, go Jays, go. Welcome aboard, my friends. So if you're just joining this live stream, welcome aboard. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment, all that good stuff. This is a spoiler live stream as to what I will be listing over at my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. You can follow me over at eBay for my latest listings. We have another Tyler Glasnow Royal Blue color match from Topps Paper. Thank you, Dagger Cards. Much appreciated. There's the Michael Busch from Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary. I still have a ton of Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary I have to go through yet. Man, I ripped through wax like crazy when it came to that product. My God. And we got some numbered parallels. Are these Blue Jays? Let me just check here. I want to save the odd man out cards for last, because there are a couple in here that are not Blue Jays cards. Mostly numbered parallel. Are these all numbered parallels? Did I go through that quick? Oh, geez. I'm just double checking here. Yeah, I think I went through all them Dodgers. Yeah, I did. Okay. So I went through, except for this last one. So there's an Isaiah Kiner Falefa foil parallel from paper, numbered to 799. That'll go up. And those are all of the LA Dodgers and Toronto Blue Jays that I'll be listing starting hopefully tonight, if nothing goes wrong, approximately 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. There's another one right here. Oh, there's a couple more. Excuse me. I'm lying to all of you. I lied. My apologies. Michael Kopech. I believe that's a refractor. Yes, it is. You can tell because it shines rainbow in the light. At least this way you can get an idea in real time of the condition of the cards. Like, I really try to do my best to care for these before I sell them. And I'm not going to sell off-centered cards. I mean, if they are reasonable, I'll put them out there, but I vet all my cards before I sell them. So, Cam Eden refractor. Yariel Rodriguez X-Fractor. That's a rookie. Toronto. Forgive the shaky cam. And I think this is the last Dodger on the list for now. Brandon Knack, X-Fractor rookie. Because I don't have any more top loaders. And again, I know my customers, you don't like card saver ones. So unfortunately, a lot of cards are going to have to wait until I order some more. But, you know, we got some other stuff here that's loose. Cam Eden, Daniel Hudson. You could see, like, I really did my homework here. Andy Pajes, base rookie. Clayton Kershaw's. There's a rainbow foil from paper. Ricky Vanasco. Obviously, Jackson Holiday is not a Dodger. Emmett Sheehan rainbow foil. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's off camera. Unfortunately, I don't have any more top loaders. That's going to have to wait. Again, I know my customer base. None of you like card saver ones. So I've had to pick and choose what it is that I was going to list. And then the cards that I kind of want to get out there that I've already prepared that I never had a chance to put out. Maybe I'll do that after I get this pile of cards done. So we'll get into this for those that are not Blue Jays, Dodgers fans. There's a Yuri Perez foil out of 250. Dagger Card says, I ran out of sleeves last night. I have lots of top loaders. Yeah, I go through this all the time. I'll burn through 200 to 300 top loaders like it's nothing, you know? You know the struggle, I'm sure. You know, if you're an eBay seller like me, or, you know, you do Whatnot or whatever have you, or if you run your own shop, you understand the struggle. Oh, believe me, I get it, my friend. So, Kyle Manzardo, that's a purple foil. I believe that's a $9.99. No, $7.99, excuse me. These I'll put up after I get the LA Dodgers and Blue Jays stuff out of the way. Carson Kelly, That's also a foil, I believe. Yes, it is, out of $7.99. Yeah, I run out of top loaders like crazy. I mean, I've been pumping out cards left and right. You know, now that I'm doing my penny auctions for my, my older listings, I'm burning through top loaders like mad, and I'm not going to buy them over at Target or anywhere else because they're just too expensive. I'm just going to go to my guy on eBay, order another 200 or 300 of them, burn through those like always. I know the struggle, ladies and gentlemen, believe me. So, and it's a tax write-off. Here's an Ahmed Rosario. Another numbered parallel. $7.99. Purple foil. And again, these are not Dodgers or Blue Jays cards, but these are cards eventually I want to put out there just to put some variety out there for my customers. We have All Smiles. That's a foil? Yes, it is. That's a foil. It should be a checklist. No, it's not a checklist. Veteran combos. My bad. Can't see. That's out of $9.99. I got to remember blue foils in update are $9.99. Yara Camargo out of 99 rookie foil. Rowdy Tellez, another foil parallel. Brett Sullivan out of $9.99. Reynaldo Lopez out of $9.99. Put this stack over here because those are the non-Dodgers, non-Blue Jays cards. Nick Martinez, another foil. Yeah, I had tons and tons of foils. There's an Acuna, let him cook. Jackson Chourio, rookie. All class. Sal Frelick Aqua, rookie debut. This is a pretty decent color match, somewhat. Joey Ortiz, yellow. Jackson Holiday, true rookie yellow from paper. That's from Update, actually, to be more specific. Jackson Holiday, Summertime in the Park. I've sold a couple of these in the past. And then we get into Mr. Moneybags himself. There's a Juan Soto pink border parallel from Chrome. That's in his Yankees uniform. And there's his sepia. And our two last cards on this list for now, Bobby Witt Jr., Mojo Refractor 1990. I just dug these out the other night. And last but not least, a Ronald Acuna Mojo Fractor 89. So I'm going to hold off on this pile here and focus on this pile here because these are all the Toronto Blue Jays cards and LA Dodgers cards that I will be offering for sale over at my eBay store, of course. You can always come back to this live stream and check for yourself. You can follow me over at eBay. I believe to date I have 143 followers following me over at my eBay store, so that's good. So that this way, if I have any new listings, you'll probably get alerted by eBay via email. Or if you have alerts set up, it'll let you know if I'm listing new cards, what have you. But I'm going to start off with all of these LA and Toronto cards first and foremost and get them out of there, or get them out there, excuse me, for all of you to view and hopefully pick up. It's nice having a clean work desk. By the way, yeah, when I was digging around for that lost Shohei Ohtani card for one of my customers, man, I was like, you know what? Well, I got everything cleared off. Let me clean everything. So it's nice that, at least for now, things are nice and neat until I really start, going. But I'm clearly going to have to order like another 200 or 300 top loaders. That's pretty much a given at this point. But for right now, if I have to steal from Peter to pay Paul and just focus on, the Dodgers and Blue Jays stuff, so be it. I can always come back later on and, get those other cards out there, because I still got a stack of Royal Blues I want to list, and I found some other Royal Blues. I mean, there are some color matches in there to the Mets and what have you and other teams, but, right now I want to make sure I keep this more Dodgers, Blue Jays eccentric. So that's pretty much it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I know this is a little early in the afternoon for a lot of people, but that's the nature of my sports card business here at home. So let me turn the camera around here so you can see yours truly. And if anybody wants to know, I am wearing my 9/11 New York Mets hat with the special patch on the hat, and that's my Piazza Mitchell and Ness jersey from 9/11 with the American flag on the back and the text on the sleeve. So thank you, everybody, for joining the live stream. I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so, subscribe, smash that like button. Check me out over at my eBay store, the Carolina Collector 001. I really appreciate the support across the various hobbies, my viewers, subscribers, friends, family, neighbors, everybody. You've all been amazing, especially those who are closest to me. I really appreciate it. And again, forgive me, for ending the previous iteration of this live stream. It's just I was getting bombarded with texts. It's really awful. Some people are just awful, really awful. Really, I mean, you could be selfish, but not to the point where like you're actually out to hurt somebody. It's like really, really bad. It's nice to think inward sometimes, but you don't have to do that at another person's expense. It's just, maybe I'll do a separate live stream if I'm listing cards or something like that. I'll just vent. But I wanted to focus on the business and the hobby and all that kind of stuff. So, Alexa, what's the current forecast again?
The current weather is 69 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today's forecast calls for more of the same, with a high of 70 degrees and a low of 44 degrees.
Oh, it's going to be cold tonight. So it's going to be good timing for me to list tonight. I'll probably make myself some pasta or something easy. I don't have to stress in the kitchen. I might even get takeout. Let's see what happens. I don't know yet. I mean, it's still early. It's only 3 o'clock sharp, according to my time. So, well, that's pretty much it, everyone. Don't forget to follow me over at eBay. Again, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, all that good stuff here on YouTube. It helps the channel to grow. Thank you for supporting my eBay store. And thank you to my fellow hobbyists and anyone who's a sports card fan or, collector or what have you. I deeply appreciate it. Again, if you're just joining this live stream, I will be listing all of those cards that you just saw, primarily the Blue Jays and Dodgers cards. Dager card says, have a great night. Sure will. I'll get these listed starting like around 8, 9-ish my time here on the East Coast. Unless you have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, for me, I'm going to wrap up here in about a minute or two. So thank you to everybody that's joined me. But there are still upcoming videos that I want to do. I got that Gears Transformer I want to review. I got other Transformers and He-Man figures. There's still some jerseys I want to talk about. Dager Card says, what is your prediction for the World Series? This is a tough one because Toronto, and I'm primarily a Yankees fan, believe it or not, and what they did to the Yankees was a shock. But I think I've said this in a previous video. When you have Don Mattingly as your bench coach calling the shots behind the scenes, you have how many years of experience with him as a coach in general, plus as a player. I don't know. I got a feeling that this is going to be a tight one this year. I still think LA is going to take it. I'm leaning more towards LA. Shohei has been unstoppable all season. I mean, let's see what happens. I'm leaning more towards the Dodgers than anybody else. But Toronto have been looking very, very impressive. I mean, they destroyed the Yankees, not for nothing. But if they can do that to the Yankees, imagine what they'll do to the Dodgers. Dagger Card says, I really want to see Donnie Baseball win the World Series. Yeah, because he never won one as a player. He retired right before the Yankees won a World Series. If he just would have stood around for that next year, he would have had a ring. I think that's when Bernie Williams, Derek Jeter, I think Tino Martinez took his place. Correct me if I'm wrong, over at first base, if I'm not mistaken. I think Tino Martinez took over first. But yeah, what a disgrace. Like I still think Mattingly should be in the Hall. I'm all in for him going to the Hall. Dagger Card says, I hope the Jays bats can stay hot versus the Dodgers. Well, we'll see. I mean, again, what they did to the Yankees, I almost ate my hat. Like, oh my God, I was so upset watching the Yankees collapse like the way they did. And I really thought they were going to stage a comeback, but that final game that they played against each other, my God. And again, Volpe, the pitching was awful. The fielding was awful, except for Aaron Judge. I mean, Dagger Card says he's a Hall of Famer for sure. Yeah, I agree. A lot of baseball fans, I think, are frustrated that Don Mattingly is not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that dude broke all sorts of records during his career. He didn't just play at first base. He played outfield for a while too, as a matter of fact, if you know his history. So, Golden Glover, of course, But yeah, it's a real shame. I'm very happy I have his 87 Topps rookie in a PSA 10. I think I got 3 of his jerseys. I have one Mitchell and Ness jersey of his with the Mickey Mantle Memorial on the sleeve. I have the Majestic version of that, which is like the fan replica, which is a lower tier version of that. And I have his away jersey from Majestic, which is the low tier version. I don't think they ever made an away version for Mitchell and Ness, as far as the Mattingly jersey is concerned, at least not to my knowledge. Not at the time I'm making this live. But yeah, he definitely needs to get into the Hall of Fame. I mean, Golden Glover, multifaceted player during his time, broke all sorts of slugging records and home run records, etc. Even when he hurt himself, he hurt his back, he changed up his batting stance and all that kind of stuff. Actually, he batted off of this shoulder right here. So, changed his stance. Even towards the end of his career, he learned how to kick his leg to draw more power into his swing. I mean, real shame that he's not in the Hall. Real shame. I'm with you 100%. Vladdy, man, he's really stepped up his game, just like his old man, So who knows? It's a toss-up, man. Again, I'm kind of leaning more towards LA, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, folks? I really don't know. Dagger Card says, I feel the same about Joe Carter. For some reason, they don't have those two enough credit, or they don't give those two enough credit. Yeah, I agree with you. A lot of baseball players are severely, severely underrated, unfortunately. That's just the way it works. There are a ton of players that will probably never get into the Hall. And then again, with the people that are doing the voting, and this is just I'm alleging this, that, a lot of them have a clear bias towards certain players and certain teams. And I think, for somebody like Donnie Baseball, unfortunately, I think they're very biased against him. I mean, not to get political, we see this in politics as well. So I'm sure that they're intentionally keeping him out of the Hall. Allegedly. Not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just speaking my mind here, but oh yes, Dager said it. I was about to say it myself. Look at how they treated Pete Rose. Yeah, Pete Rose. Listen, man. People today they buy scratch tickets, lottery scratch tickets. They buy Powerball tickets. I know he betted against his own team. Yes, he did that. That's a fact. But he didn't murder anybody. He didn't kill anybody. Didn't sexually assault anyone. Didn't abuse children. He didn't rob or steal. He gambled. Nonviolent crime. And now they're talking about putting him in a hole because he's dead, and they're doing that out of guilt. I think that's really disgusting. You know, isn't it funny how human nature is? And I talk about human nature sporadically through my videos, how cruel and gross and disgusting human nature and human behavior, and seeing what you want to see and hearing what you want to hear, and narcissism and all that kind of stuff plays a role in all of that. You know, Pete Rose was a monster. He was a beast, you know, during his time. I remember him as a kid watching the Baseball Bunch. You know what I mean? With Johnny Bench and Mike Schmidt and Gary Carter and all those guys teaching us young kids about baseball and stuff like that. He was a monster. And now they're talking about putting him in a hall. Little late for that, isn't it? The man can't enjoy it. He's 6 feet in the ground. I think that's really, really a sin, in my opinion. I agree. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Dager Cart says betting is huge in Major League Baseball now. They are all over. Oh, did you see what happened with the basketball thing that's going on right now with Cash Patel? Again, not to get into politics or anything, but they're busting people all over the NBA now with illegal gambling and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, sports betting, as fast as it's grown, you watch how fast it collapses now because of all of this stuff. That's exactly what's going to happen here, ladies and gentlemen. Oy, 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 oy. I've been watching it on the news ever so slightly that coaches, players. Dager Cart says, I saw last night Chauncey Billups was a former Raptor. Yeah, a lot of players are getting busted now. I mean, geez, you know, and these guys, they sign, I'm sure there's ethical clauses or ethics clauses in their contracts not to do this sort of thing, but they do it anyway. Again, the temptation to make money is there. And here's the thing that I don't get with a lot of this stuff. If you actually have a brain in your head, I mean, not us, I'm just saying these players, if they had a brain in their skulls, you're making millions of dollars already. Why do you feel this obsessive compulsive need to gamble on stuff? Again, I know Pete Rose did it. I just discussed it. But you're making millions and millions of dollars on a court, or if you're playing on the field in baseball and things like that. Why risk it? It doesn't make sense. It's just, unfortunately, like in the sports card hobby, bingo, Dager Cards just said it, took the words out of my mouth. They are just greedy and or bored. I think a lot of it has more to do with greed. When there's an opportunity to make just a little bit more and you don't know when to stop, that's when obsession kicks in. Doesn't have to be like that, ladies and gentlemen. You know, that's why I stopped ripping wax this year, because it reaches a point where it's like, all right, I got plenty of cool autographs, plenty of parallels. I also bought, you know, graded slabs. I sent in slabs myself. I picked and chose, you know, what I'm keeping, what I'm going to sell, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you have to know where to draw the line, and a lot of these guys just don't. They really don't. Greed, unfortunately, is one of those 7 deadly sins. Greed, sloth, envy, lust, etc., etc. You know, people just don't know when to quit. They don't know when to quit. I think a lot of it is just based on greed. So you're making millions of dollars. Why would you throw that away? Especially if you have an ethics clause in your contract. You don't do that. Ay, 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 ay. One good example of somebody really breaking the ethics code, do I even have to say his name? Wander Franco. Look how everybody jumped on his bandwagon, and look what he did. You know what I mean? Things like that, for example. So, Dager Cars says they thought they would never get caught. Yeah, see, that's the problem. Human nature, once again. You know, at least here on YouTube, with the sports card business, I try to be as transparent with my business as humanly possible because, everything I do is completely legit. The paperwork, all of that stuff through my LLC, you could probably look up my tax filings online. Most businesses, if not all businesses, that has to be made public, but, I can't accept gifts, for example, if it's related to the business itself. I can't accept gifts or anything like that. I mean, off, say like away from the business, yeah, that's one thing. But if it's involved for the business, yeah, take that for the business. Take that for the business. You have to reveal that and say, hey, look, I got this thing. It's for the business. You have to make that public. You have to let people know. I mean, so far, like even with some of the junk wax that I've showed off, that's for the business, not for me personally. My personal stuff and my business stuff are completely separate. Sometimes they will cross paths, but if you try to hide something and you're trying to fudge the numbers, and you're asking for trouble, especially if you're public. You're really asking for trouble, especially here. Everybody that's been watching my channel this year, you see all the stuff I went through. To be fair, and to be honest, the person that was texting me was the girl I was with. And she's the one that got me into trouble with all of that stuff. And, I had to go through all of this legal nonsense, and she tried all of this crazy shit to get me into trouble. And I had to hire a lawyer and got acquitted because of that. And then some yokel out there, of course, it's already happened. I've talked about this, and I've made a parody video about my mugshots because idiots are putting my mugshots out there, but you've all seen the acquittal letter. So that nullifies their bullshit with trying to create a false narrative. You have to, unfortunately, stuff like that has to be known because, when you're running a business, people will try to slander, smear, defame, drag you through the mud, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you have to make things available, unfortunately. That's the name of the game. So, but these people, like you, especially when it comes to taxes, when it comes to taking gifts, bribes, gambling, I don't want to say it here. Hiring women for extracurricular activities. I guess that's a fancy way of saying the P word. Playing games with our littlest victims, PDF files, things like that. You get caught doing that kind of stuff, you're gonna go to jail. It's that simple. Don't even try it. So yeah, a bunch of them are idiots. You can't, it's greed. It's all based on greed. People just don't know when to stop. They can't stop putting their hand in a cookie jar. A lot of guys that are out there in the sports card hobby, how many stories are out there where guys constantly buying more wax and more wax and more wax and more wax, and then they're running up their credit card bills and all of this stuff, and their wives and girlfriends are filing for separate, their wives are filing for divorce. Pardon me, their girlfriends are breaking up with them because people don't know when to stop. Pardon me. People out there just don't know when to quit. It's the 7 deadly sins: greed, lust, envy, sloth, etc. It's really disgusting how human behavior is. Dagger Card says it is very addictive. Oh, believe me, if I had more disposable income, I would continue to rip wax this year. But again, I'm not exactly a dedicated sports card collector. Obviously on this channel I talk about jerseys, hats. Sports cards is very niche, but I collect a little bit of everything. I've always talked about these two, my favorite Transformers. And yes, I finally accepted that this is a tank. Megatron's a tank, all right? There's my Studio Series 86 upgraded Prime, and there's Tankatron, aka Megatron. I talk about sneakers, even in the beginning of this live stream. Now I have a little something to do where I threw out my garbage and I saw a pair of Michael Jordan sneakers in a dump. I've had them sitting outside for like an hour or two. I'm going to try to restore these as best I can, sand them down and paint them with Angelus paint, wash them, scrub them, soap them, disinfect them, and all that kind of stuff. Because I do have a lot of Jordans here. Like even today, I'm wearing my New York Mets gear, and I'm wearing my whatchamacallit, the Travis Scotts. They still look like they're brand new. But I had knockoffs that I was wearing. But I'm like, you know what? I don't like things to sit around. I like to wear my clothes and my shoes and my sneakers. So, I finally decided enough. I'm going to break them out and wear them. So, Digger Card says, I recently had a Transformers sketch cover done at the Comic Con here in Ottawa. That's cool. I used to go to a lot of comic book conventions and stuff like that, New York Comic Con. And there's been a lot of conventions here in Charlotte since I left New York and outside of Mecklenburg County here. I don't know. I become too much of a homebody. I'm too comfortable where I am. I prefer my solitude and, peace and quiet, especially after everything that's happened this year. I just want peace and quiet and serenity. I want to be relaxed. I want to be the guy that I know I am. But this world, sometimes throws a wrench in the gears. Dagger Card says, I found a Jordan shoebox yesterday. Even the boxes are sweet. I don't keep the boxes anymore. All the Jordans that you've ever seen on my channel, except for the 2025 Nike Air Jordan 4s that came out, the white cements, the reissues, I still have two pairs of the 2016s. As a matter of fact, spoiler alert, I guess I could talk about this now. I wanted to make a separate video about it, but I'm still wearing my 2016s. And I've kept them clean as best I can. They're starting to get to a point where I'm not going to be able to clean them up so much anymore. But, they're still very wearable, still very comfortable. They're probably this one pair. As a matter of fact, for context, I'll be right back. This is the other pair of the 2016s. I doubled up on these because I didn't think they were going to retro them again. I know Nike brought back their old CEO recently, as a matter of fact, because of everything that's been going on. So these are the new pair of the 2016s that I've wore maybe twice. You can see they're a little dirty on the soles there. I've worn them 2 times. But I've got the 2 pairs of the 2016s, and these things are still going strong. These are the shoes I wear the most. How durable these are. If you really want to get into context, 1 second again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back. And this is one of the 2 sneakers. This is the left shoe. This is the 2025 that released, that I reviewed on the channel. So I still got the new pair of the 2016s that I wore once or twice. Here's the 2015s. I love the shape on at least the old school shape. I love this a lot more, and I got big feet. These are a size 13, and these fit me a lot better, I got to rephrase that. They're actually more comfortable than the 2016. So I literally have 3 pairs of the white cements, excuse me. But now that they're making the 4s in this shape, like I have the pine green SBs, I have the military blues in this shape, and they're just so much more comfortable. They're probably going to go back on all of their colorways. I want the yellow, I think they're called Yellow Thunders or something like that. I forgot. I completely forgot where you could take the patch off of the tongue. They're black, white, and yellow. I used to have them years ago. I hope they go back and redo the Travis Scotts in that shape. Dagger Card says the box I found was a size 13 too. Yeah, I got big feet. But, again, like I said, I only wore these twice. And they're brand new. But you could tell, I've really dogged these guys. I've repainted these multiple times. I've cleaned the shoelaces and all that stuff to the point where now, I don't think they can be whitened any more than what they are. They do need a good top cleaning with leather cleaner. And one other little trick, which is a spoiler alert for a future video. Welcome, Ali. What do you think about the Air Jordan 1 sneakers? I actually have bread toes. I don't wear the bread toes that often because they hurt my feet. They're very, anybody that owns Jordan 1s, they're very thin on the sole. I actually have insoles, Dr. Scholl's, that I put in them because they're very uncomfortable for me. I'm not a real big fan of the Jordan 1s, even though, like I said, I got the bread toes, which I can bring out for everybody. Let me put these away and put these away. I'll bring out one of my bread toes. This is another pair of shoes I've only wore maybe 2 or 3 times at best. They look good with a lot of my clothes because the color scheme of a lot of my clothes typically is like white, black, blue, all sporting goods stuff, what have you. You know, New York Yankees stuff, Bayern Munich, New York Mets, New York Giants. But you know, these are the bread toes right here, and I've only wore them again 2 or 3 times at most. They just hurt my feet. They look good. They're very, very old school. They look like when I was a kid back in the 80s. But unfortunately, like I said, they're just so. Oh, no, no, no. Stop, stop, stop. What are you doing? That was weird. My phone just went for some reason. Sorry about that, folks. But like I said, yeah, these hurt my feet. They look good because they look like throwbacks from the 80s, but they're just, they hurt me too much. So in here I got Dr. Scholl's so that this way they're a little bit more comfortable on my feet. So, but they're okay. They're okay. You know, if I really want to go retro, I got plenty of old school clothing I can wear and all that stuff. I mean, I tend, Ali says they're nice. Yeah, they are nice. Bread toes look good. You know, the original OG Chicago's are nice as well. I would love to get me a nice pair of Chicago's, but again, unfortunately, it's just they're too flat on my feet and they hurt. So even though I do have some alternative colors here and there, you know, the black and red Thunders, I have, or actually the black infrareds. Um, the military blue fours fit me really nice, just like the 2025 white cements you saw. The Nike SB Pine Greens fit me really nice. I actually have a New York Cosmos jersey with green and white trim with Franz Beckenbauer. They look really good with that. If you have a nice pair of gray pants to go along with it, those look good because the Pine SB's got the gray trim around the toe box. They look really nice. But if there was a pain in the ass pair of shoes I have, it's definitely the Travis Scotts. I probably wore them now probably a half a dozen times because I finally gave up having them sit on the shelf. There's no point in having these sitting on the shelf. I might as well just wear them, burn them out until I burn them out. But I got plenty of shoes to rotate through. But I wear all my shoes. So, I mean, but there's some I wear more than others. Obviously, like I said, these 2016s, man, these have been through almighty hell with me. And they're still going strong. My favorite pair of shoes of all time. I'm definitely going to have to throw a little bit of silicone on there. As a matter of fact, little trick that I learned over the years. As a matter of fact, let's piss off some of the Kurt's Card Care fans that are out there. I actually still have tons of these Q-tip things that Kurt's Card Care comes with. You can actually buy them on Amazon and all that stuff. So I bought a bunch of them for home. But if you take a little silicone, you know, like if you get these for like your hair clippers or whatever, or you can get plumber's silicone or some sort of clear silicone paste. Now you can see the air bubble on this is a little foggy. Little trick with silicone paste that you never see with sneaker content creators. So you can see like the air bubble here is just a little cloudy. Silicon is actually used to revitalize plastic and rubber. And even though this is a temporary fix, you can at least clean your air pockets or your air units without damaging the paint or anything like that. But it'll keep the rubber nice and pliable, which is what you want, right? And then when you take a look, look at how nice and shiny that air bubble is now, nice and clear. Now it's only temporary and it'll last for, a couple of weeks. But every so often you want to use some silicone to clean up the air unit a little bit. Here you can see on the other side. I'll do the other side for all of you. Getting a scratchy throat. You know what it is? The landscapers kicked up all that dust. And I got my door cracked open there, so I'll put a couple more drops of silicone. Oh, you know where I can show that? On these things that I found. Look how filthy that air unit is. Let's see what it does for this. I'll do it live on camera. Here, check it out. I should make it look like it's brand new. You can theoretically clean your entire shoe with silicone paste because it's meant for rubber and flexible materials. I mean, I really wouldn't recommend that on leather, but on artificial man-made materials, this works out really nice. Look how clean that looks now. Like brand new, right? That's with a little bit of silicone. Well, this is all rubber, the rubber soles, so you can actually probably use that on here too. You can see the difference already as I'm cleaning it. Look at that. And what's nice, if you're a Jordan collector like I am, or a sneakerhead, it keeps this paint pliable as well so it doesn't crack. It actually delays the cracking on the paint a little bit. So at least you can... I mean, I really don't recommend using rubbing alcohol or anything like that because you can wear the paint off. I mean, I'm not a sneaker restorer, so to speak, but, I like to give my shoes a general cleaning once in a while, but the silicone really, really brings that rubbery material back to life. But look at that air unit, how nice and shiny that looks. Look at how nice this looks now. I would have to go over this with a microfiber cloth or cotton or something like that, but I think you ladies and gentlemen get the idea. So, throw that in the trash. Let me get another one of those. I'll do the other side right there of these shoes that I found. So let me get another one of them swabs. Man, they really kicked up a lot of dust out there. Jeez, I can feel it. Ugh. Sorry, folks. So here's another swab. Another couple drops of that silicone right there. And here's that pair of sneakers I found outside, and you can see how filthy the air unit looks and that green paint. Let's see if I can do this live on camera here again. And then you just liberally apply it and get in there. And oh yeah, it's looking lively already. Now again, this is only temporary, as it may fog up again as you use them or kick up some dirt, but look at how nice and clear it looks now. Little secret that I use. You don't see that from Reshoevn-Ator. And by the way, I made a video about this on my YouTube channel. How do sneakers get so dirty? You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with this comment. I think a lot of them intentionally destroy their shoes just to restore them, just for clicks and views. I'm not saying that their products are bad or they're trying to scam people, but come on now, give me a break. But look at how nice that's starting to look already. Just from using a little silicone only on the rubber and the plastic, nothing else. Oh man, they really kicked up that dust outside. Jeez. I'm going to throw a little bit more of that silicone on there again. I want to see if that paint comes off. I don't think that paint's going to come off, but we'll try anyway. Just with a little silicone. This is something I'm definitely going to have to paint over. Yeah, they're scratched. That's what that is. That's a scratch. So, but anyway, just with that little bit of silicone, look at how nice and shiny that looks. To bring that back to life. But yeah, these definitely need a full repaint. I'm going to have to get some green paint, green Angelus, or mix up or color match this green. But yeah, if you look at them air units from these shoes, look how nice and clear they look. Where's my Jordans here? Yeah, you can see how dirty that air pocket is right there. And let me use one more. Let me use a clean swab here. Couple more drops of silicone. I actually have a can of Plumber's Silicon in my kitchen there up on one of my shelves, but you see how dirty that air unit is. You take that silicone paste, right? Brand new swab. You just liberally get it in there and clean. You don't want to push down on it because you don't want to scratch the air unit. Otherwise, the color will change very rapidly back to that brown, but look how nice that looks now. Again, it's a temporary fix, but at least you can revitalize your air units that way. And I recommend using this on the rubber and nothing else. Don't use rubbing alcohol or anything because you want to keep that paint flexible. Again, you're talking about rubber soles now. So even on here, on the rubber, don't be afraid to go on it. You see all of that crap. I mean, you don't want to get the silicone on your clothes, so you might want to wipe this off a little bit with a microfiber cloth so you don't scratch the paint on it or anything like that. But yeah, it'll extend the life. That's why these lasted for so long, because this is a trick that I use on my shoes. But yeah, you put that, that's why there's no cracking or anything on the midsole there. There is a little bit of paint chipping on the stress points of the shoe where it bends, especially there at the arch of the feet. But it's not peeling. It's because I use this method of using silicone. But a very, very thin coat of silicone. And that dry rubber will absorb the moisture of the silicone so that it remains pliable. That's what I do with my shoes. But then, of course, you want to at least go over it once with, like, sneaker cleaner or something like that. But again, I think the silicone is the best way to go. I mean, if you're not going to really try, if you're not going to restore your shoes to dead stock, like a lot of young guys do. I mean, I don't do that. I wear my shoes anyway, so they're going to get dirty again anyway. But if you want to make them look presentable, like I said, a little bit of silicone and one of these foam things, and just go over it once and look at how nice that comes out. Like brand new almost. But again, it's only temporary. So go on the back here just a little bit. But you see what that silicone does for the air pocket, for the air unit. Cleans it right up real nice. Well, now that I did that one, I might as well do the other side too, right? Logic suggests, like Spock would say from Star Trek, logic suggests that if you clean one sneaker's air pocket, you have to do the other for consistency. Some silicone on these tips. Now here's my right shoe. You can see it's a little foggy, a little dirty. And then again, just liberally take some silicone. Again, you don't want to push down on it because you may actually scratch the air pocket, which is something you don't want to do, because then when it gets dirty, it will get dirty again as you wear your shoes. But at least, if you go on the midsole like this, it'll be nice and pliable. You let that silicone sit for a while so that the plastic and the rubber absorbs it, and you shouldn't have any chipping. And look at how nice that came out. Like brand new. And then, of course, last but not least, we'll do that air pocket right there. Flip that over on the clean side. And again, you just get in there. And then And of course, you can go on the outside too if you want. We'll even go on the rubber here. Don't use this on leather though. I wouldn't recommend using silicone on leather. This is only meant for artificial materials. Leather, you want to use a good leather cleaner like leather wipes or something like that. That's what I tend to use to just give my sneakers a nice surface clean. But here, look how nice and shiny that looks now. And then, of course, you could buff it out with a microfiber cloth and all that stuff. But you see the results. With a little silicone, you can revitalize your air pockets. But, you know, again, it's only temporary. You know, as you wear your shoes, you know, they will, get dirty again. So, but at least, you know, the rubber materials, the artificial man-made materials can stay nice and pliable. And it just increases the lifespan of your shoes without having to do like a major restoration on them. But I think you get the point. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it quits. But at least I got myself a little project to work on when I really get bored. Again, thank you everybody for joining this live stream. I wasn't expecting to talk about sneakers or anything like that, but hey, man, that's what the internet's all about. That's what YouTube is all about, the free-flowing exchange of information. Now, again, I'm not a professional sneaker restorer, but, you know, I try to take care of my shoes. And this is going to be a nice little project to work on when I get bored. So, yeah, the silicone trick is something I've been using for a long time. You know, again, don't use it on leather. Use it only on the artificial parts of the shoe so that this way the rubber can remain. And you actually read. Let me show you the stuff I actually use, because that's for more of my shaving stuff. But where's that can of silicone? Ah, here it is. Okay. I got this online. You can get these at most plumbing supply shops. I don't think Home Depot or Lowe's sells this. I actually ordered this from the plumbing supply house in New York on eBay. Plumber's grease. It's clear silicone paste. But of course, you don't want to use all of that. All you need is just a little dab. And it should do the trick. So if you can find those foam tips, you can get them at AutoZone. I think AutoZone sells them. But this is the plumbing paste I actually use. You know what? Let me do that other sneaker. How many more of them tips do I got here? All right, I got like 3 more in that basket. So I'm just going to take a little silicone paste right out of it. You don't even need that much. Don't use a lot. You just need like a little dab like that. And where's that old pair of shoes that I found? No, I didn't do this side. Okay. So again, here's the other shoe, and you can see how filthy that air unit is. Doesn't sparkle or shine at all. Again, this is only temporary, but this is meant for rubber and plastics and things like that. So that this way, you know, gaskets, you know, water gaskets can maintain their seal, or what we call in the plumbing industry, O-rings. I am a former plumber from New York, by the way. The proper term are O-rings. And just get in there only a little bit. Again, you don't need a lot because you don't want it to be slimy or you don't want it to gunk up, but take a look at that. Look at the difference. Again, it's only temporary. You can even use a little bit on this rubber too if you want. Again, I don't recommend this on leather. But clearly, I'm going to have to really give these a scrub. But yeah, you can see already how nice that looks. Yeah, let's do the other side. Why not? We could do both sides, since I already did both sides of the other shoe. I mean, whatever silicone I applied is going to come off with soap and water when I actually do the restoration on these. You can see how dirty that is on the inside, and then you just do the same thing. Oh, that one's awful. Look at that. Blech. Look at the difference already. And then if you want, you take whatever left over, spread it out, and then you can do like a basic clean. But these things are going to need a repaint. I can see it already based on that. And even cleaning off the midsole, look at the difference. So, all right, folks, I'm starving. I want to eat myself some late lunch here. Maybe I'll even make a early supper. Let me see how I feel. But thank you, everybody, for checking out this live stream again. Much appreciated all across the board from the various hobbyists, whether you're a card collector, hat collector, sneaker collector, jersey collector, Pokemon, TCG, Transformers, sports cards. I mean, thank God we got these hobbies, man, because life can be very, very difficult. And people can be difficult. Things can be difficult. But, having an escape like this for me is just, it's much needed, especially today. If you've been watching since the beginning with some of the texts I'm getting, it's like, God, man, some people are just really impossible, very cruel. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for your continued support. Look out for my eBay store. I'll be getting those cards listed sometime tonight. I definitely want to get some fresh air before the sun sets. It might even be too late. Oh my God, man, I've been on here for an hour and a half, and it's now almost 4 o'clock my time. So, like always, take care. God bless. Stay safe. I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you all very soon. Take care, everybody.